to do character moves, so that my other character, who's going to use his might for killing things, doesn't have to spend his might.
Oh, that was classic. I was wondering if you were chosen for Bill as well, and then I saw.
Did it freeze? Okay, cool. That covered 100%. You cannot play a game if you do not. It's just going to be a lot harder. You shouldn't play a game unless your army can deal with that.
Just signaled the goal. Someone's just scored one. He's like, "What do you want?" Yeah, I am. What are you doing? You want to be on the channel? I was out of charger so the laptop doesn't die halfway through. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Spencer.
Yeah, charger broke.
Is that your new IT guy you hired?
Be prepared.
Just for the record, very unpopular opinion. That's my favorite Disney song.
From the OG or from the new one?
I haven't seen the new one.
Oh, what? Get on that. It's actually fucking good.
The fucking National Geographic Lion King.
It's really good. Welcome to episode 1 of Dubious Counsel. Alfred's counsel is sometimes wise and sometimes self-serving. This is a series of videos where we'll talk about different aspects of competitive Middle-earth strategy battle game. We're here with...
Bill, obviously.
Bill,
Man of the
obviously.
hour. Really? I guess this video only goes for an hour, so it's the man of the hour.
I hope it's not an hour. I hope it's a lot less than an hour. And we have...
Coach, if you don't know that by now.
And I'm Dion. We are the D6 Fix. So the topic of today's discussion is heroes. Heroes are a very important aspect of Middle-earth gaming, and I'd probably hazard to say that's the reason why we all play the game.
No, you definitely play the game for that one Moria Goblin, dude.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about heroes in general, and then we'll go through and be a little bit more specific. So what makes a hero worth taking? Bill.
Fight, strength, and defense. The main three I look for.
In that order specifically?
Probably fight and strength more than defense. But still, you don't want your character being defense 5 and getting slain on 4s.
That's fair. So when you look at fight value, let's take a specific army list for an example. Rivendell. When you look at Rivendell,
no one plays them.
I think you'll find everyone plays them.
I don't know. I haven't got them, so not everyone.
So look at Rivendell. So you've got basically 3 named characters that are functionally the same, except Gil-galad is fight 9, Glorfindel is fight 7, and Elrond is fight 6.
Elrond should be fight 7 anyway.
Do you mean functionally the same as they're all stupidly good, or what?
Yes. They all do the same thing. They kill everything.
I reckon Elrond's the worst one.
Yeah. I reckon Glorfindel's the worst one.
Nah, he's pretty badass. But the fact that he can't be brutally power attacked when your troll attacks him, so he just stands there like, yeah, cool.
Glorfindel's definitely the coolest one, but I also reckon he's the worst.
Go and kill trolls like a Sildor, just roll out. Yeah.
There's one I prepared earlier.
So
I'll go there. Here's dope.
Most heroes should be the same strength, really. There's going to be a few exceptions.
Elves should be strength 4, only because they're little girls.
Every hero is strength 4. There is exceptions.
Yeah, like Uruk-hai and shit. Stuff that are stronger.
Yeah. For some reason, Elendil and Isildur.
Yeah.
I do like to think that if you made a strength 5 elf, which I don't think there is one, how much better it would be. Imagine like a Thranduil at strength 5 with the elk.
Charges.
So you prioritize Bill, fight, then strength, then defense. Approximately.
Yeah. I don't really look for cool rules. I always forget them, so.
What about you, Coach?
First two things I look at probably, because like your heroes are kind of different. Like you have like big heroes, named captains, regular captains, like kind of levels, right? I think the first thing I look for is special rules and heroic actions.
Yep.
What they can do. The exact opposite to Bill.
Yeah.
Because heroes are all going to have like a relatively okay stat line. And then example like Gondor in gold. He's just like a generic. He's basically a generic captain.
I think he's 5 points more.
See the don't back away, dude.
Yeah, he has a special rule and an extra point of might.
Yeah. The extra point of might on all the named characters is really good. Most of them lose March for that, and March is saying that like that's why you would take a generic captain, which is again why you look at heroic actions. The Ingold
almost like that's coming up. We're going to talk about that.
The Ingold special rule meaning that like you don't back away if you lose a fight. You can never be trapped because of that. If you're putting him in Dalamoth with pikes, your pikes don't have to back away, so you're never trapped. Like that special rule was crazy and worth a lot more points, especially considering you're still getting your generic captain stat line. Like he's not terrible. I think cool special rules like really change the way you can play your army and stuff, and I think that to me is the most fun. So I probably look at special rules and then heroic actions because I think you want to have something that strikes. You want to have something that has march. You want to like kind of cover your bases in terms of that. And then after that, probably just like Bill said, your stat line stuff.
How many models you can take with that? Because some of them are 15. It makes it handy.
So for me, like I definitely look at heroic actions. Now with the current edition of the rules, with not every hero being able to heroic strike, that's been one of the major changes. So, you know, you need a combat hero. You know, you got to look at what heroic actions they have. Then you have your support heroes, so things like heroic march, massive. Being able to get to where you need to go is very, very important. And for me, it goes heroic actions, how many points of might you have, and
because you roll like a potato,
and their role in the army. And
if they can take a cav model, like some elven heroes can't take cav models, which burdens them.
Exactly. So we've kind of touched on this a little bit. What are the important stats to look for in a hero and why?
Stats. I already went through mine anyway, but
yeah. So why is fight value important? Remember that this video is not for us. This is potentially, ideally, for people who aren't as experienced. Look, we're probably 3 of the 5 most experienced players in our state.
Yeah. No, I don't know about that, but anyway.
We play a lot of games.
That's rough.
We play a lot of games.
I've been playing a long time as well.
Yeah, that's it. We've been playing a long time. So like what makes the fight? Let's start with fight value.
I obviously use fight first because it's the first thing that you do in the fight phase. That is the first thing. What fight are you? Cool. You're Azog on fight 7. Cool. If you're not Bolg or Gilgalad, I'm going to beat you every time. You don't have to. That, and then that's when the next one comes down is strength. What strength you are, and then defense. Like boom, that's your 3 first things you got to look at when you win the fight. So Azog, obviously, he wins anyway. When you go something like what would you say, like a generic Minas Tirith captain? Yeah. You fight. You're probably not going to win the fight, but at least your defense 7 when his defense 4, so it's still 6s. You're not getting wounded on fight, is it?
If they have shield wall.
Yeah.
So they can be defense 8.
Yeah. So that's your first thing, like fight, and then
So can you win a fight?
Back to your basics. Yeah.
Can you win a fight? If you win a fight, can you kill an enemy? And if you don't win a fight, can you survive?
They're fight 6. You usually always win your fights, but you don't kill something. That's where it comes into it as well.
That's fair. What about other stats like that a lot of people don't think about, like courage
and fate?
Yeah, that all just comes down to nothing, bloody. There's so many good things you got to look at for a hero anyway.
That's it. Having played lots of evil, I think the three of us play lots of evil armies, and having like a courage 2 or courage 1, like courage 2 warriors sucks. So having heroes.
Look,
I think just your generic captains are your way to go anyway. Like you pay 40 points for a generic orc captain, it calls 2 heroic marches and then dies, and you don't care. It's done its 20 points of 2 heroic marches and got your army halfway across the board.
yeah.
Coach?
On courage there as well. Like, if people want to talk about downsides to something, like we're trying to keep this pretty generic.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about downsides to some of these, especially your bigger evil heroes. Kind of cap out at like courage 5.
Yep.
And courage 5 isn't that high.
it's
Especially if you're getting like spells thrown at you, wheels throughout the course of the game, and it comes down to it, and you go, oh, there's a 4 on 2 dice, and I have nothing to do about it. Like,
I know this is not something that like I like to think about and look at a lot, but the average is on dice. So when you roll 2 dice, the average is going to be 7. So the average on 2 dice being 7 means that you need to roll slightly below average with a regular hero for them to pass. So realistically, it means 1 in 3 times you take a courage check.
I was wondering where the fuck you were going with that. I could see the cogs like turn, and you were like,
a third of every courage checks your hero is going to make, they're going to fail.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Depends what kind of day you have. And I've seen Coach pass heaps of courage 2 tests in front of you, and his stuff doesn't run away. So I don't know about your theory there.
Same. But that's the thing you need to. Coach and I play very similar. We play very risky.
dumb.
I don't know about that.
Very dumb. Where you just be like, oh, you know what?
Yeah, I call you that.
I might fail, but if I don't, how good would it be? A lot of people don't play like that.
Hey, Coach, it doesn't matter if your courage 2 when a great beast of Gorgoroth just runs over its own dudes and wins for you.
So what other stats do we have? Attacks and wounds?
Yeah, that's another big one. Like having a 2 attack hero with a spear support is not too bad, but when you're stuck there and they've got a spear support and you only got 2 attack, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with that.
I think attacks and wounds I look at less because, like, for most heroes, unless you're looking at like fucking what's
all generic should like what 2-1-1 or 2-2-1. That's your generic captain. Doesn't matter what you got.
1 wound, 1 fate. Yep.
Your 2 might if one's a heroic march and one's a to win the fight. The will you probably won't even use it, and then the fate you probably don't have a chance because some big heroes just killed you.
Yeah, I think for like attacks and wounds though, like unless you're looking at like your bigger heroes have 3 of each. Or at least have 3 in 1 stat line. Some of your mid-tier heroes kind of have some of your better ones, like someone like Forlong, has 3 wounds or whatever. Like, but most of them are going to be like, if you're a big hero, you've got 3 and 3.
Yep.
Jesus, I'm dying. If you're a medium hero, you got 2 and 2. And if you're like someone like Damrod or one of these weird like
minor heroes,
like really heroes, you've got
25-point hero.
But for the most part, they're pretty generic attacks and wounds.
That's fair. How do you rate the importance of fate?
On not dying.
Yeah, like is
when to use it? Like
if you've got two heroes that are practically the same. Let's take Elrond and Gilgalad, for example. Practically the same. I know. Shut up, Coach. For argument's sake, they're both about the same points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elrond has 3 fate, and the ring which allows him to reroll those fate. And sorry, did I say Gilgalad? I meant Glorfindel. And Glorfindel has 1 fate.
Glorfindel has 3 fate.
Glorfindel has 3 fate. Never mind. That's a very, very poor example.
That's all right. We got there in the end.
Go on.
I can't think of anything now. That was my example.
All right.
Let's say, for argument's sake, let's say Gilgalad then. Elrond and Gilgalad, 3 fate with a reroll, one fate. What's the significance in how you use those characters?
So
I'll take Gilgalad because you can just throw him in like a ball because he's fight 9, roll a 6, I win.
Look, I wouldn't throw him in because do you know what happens?
Elrond's
you lose one fight, you're fucking dead.
Somebody rolls 3 6s and you're dead.
I
Go,
think
coach.
with Fate as well. So like talking about when you use it kind of depends. Like if it's your leader and there's points in the mission for wounds that aren't prevented by Fate, you're going to throw your Fate first time you take a wound every time, just because you don't want to give up your victory points, right?
Yep.
If that's not the situation, it kind of just comes down to personal preference. Do you want to use it right at the start to try and prevent that first wound to make your opponent think you've still got your full 2 wounds left if you're a regular captain?
Yep.
Or do you let them do the wound so that they know that if they do another one, you could still save it? You know, like
to make them push and hunt to try to kill that character.
But the difference in how much fate you have, it's like I think that's another crazy one. Like a lot of bigger characters are people that die, so they have their little one fate thing. Elendil, Azog, Gilgalad, all these dudes have one fate, right? And they're crazy. They're gonna like control games by killing tons of shit. But on the flip side of that, they're quite weak. Whereas if you have someone like King Aragorn, fucking Elrond's the perfect example because he gets to reroll his fate points.
Galadriel.
Points of fate makes you so much more survivable and so much more intimidating to try and bring down, I think.
Do you think it's a false security because you've got that perceived resilience? Because it's not actually resilience, it's a dice roll. Do you think that perceived resilience, not just us, but in general, in a broader sense, and newer players in particular, do you think that they're more likely to put them in situations that are more like fragile?
I actually think it has more of an effect on the person you're playing against than on your mindset.
Okay.
At least, like for me, I've always done dumb shit with heroes all the time, right? So like, I'm a terrible example of this, but I think even if you play semi-cautiously, like
most new people don't put their heroes in combat because they don't want them to die.
But I think on the flip side of that, it like affects your opponent more. Like if I'm playing a game against someone and we're talking about Elrond a lot, but let's say Elrond because he's got those 3 rerollable fate points. You're not going to want to try and start killing him because you're just like, where the fuck's the point?
Exactly.
And I think that actually has more of an effect on the person you're playing against than it does on your mindset. But
do you see the difference in the things you look for in a good hero and an evil hero?
I don't know.
Go on. Hear that silence.
We've already discussed most of it, really, though. Like, because, like you're saying before, if they're scared to put their hero into combat, like your hero shouldn't be attacking the other people's heroes unless it's a big hero attacking you, a small hero. Like, you're not going to make your 70 points worth out of your Ministerial Captain if you haven't at least slayed 2 or 3 generic dudes. So, I don't know. When you're looking at that, you just want, like, I don't know. So they're all different. Like, you look at Gothmog, he's got his special rules. Like, he's crap in combat for 140 point, but all his special rules are cool. You don't want him anywhere near touching base of any other big hero or anything like that. So
yeah,
that's what you got to look at now with those small heroes. Like Madrill with 3 heroic marches that I didn't even know until I got to a tournament and never used the thing before. And I was like, here's 3 points of mine and 3 heroic marches, and did it for 3 turns running away from Nicole's cave drakes. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, move 27 inches in 3 turns. Like, goodbye.
So, on that topic,
just to add in before we move on, on the good and evil thing.
Yeah.
I think with good heroes in general, without even like looking at thinking about things you're looking for, your good heroes are going to be much better at kind of, for the most part, living. Like they're a lot more defensive. They always have high defense. They've always got their heavy armor. They can all ride horses for the most part. Some of them have like all of their magic isn't built, if they have magic, around killing other things. It's built around kind of like Elrond. He has renew and shit like that, right? Like A lot of
Celeborn.
right defensively. Whereas you look at your evil characters, and most of them, if they have some small like army leading special rule, but aside from that, are just like, hey,
They
this
have
dude's
to hide.
tell me that he's really good at killing things. Outside of like say a ring wraith or something. But I think for the most part, when you look at good heroes, you're probably looking at more of your higher courage stuff, better at leading armies in general. Whereas evil stuff, you tend to look for more things just to kind of like cannonball through stuff. At least that's
something
fair.
to move away from not getting attacked like a horse and running away.
Touching on that, what's the
I keep forgetting that we're
importance?
talking about little characters, not big characters.
Oh, whatever.
Classic.
Talking about
I wrote
everything.
down all the big characters in me.
Oh,
Tell me
just
notes.
everything. Just everything. Like characters in general. What do you feel the importance of heroic actions are?
I only used a few of them because I forget the rest of them. So I
Well,
wrote down that one.
What are the ones
One,
you use?
one, the most underrated one that I've never ever used in a game is heroic strength.
So, what does heroic strength do, Coach?
gives you D3 strength.
Plus D3 strength. And
And
it's
why does
only...
a cave drake have it? That's my next question. Why does a cave drake have heroic strength?
So it can eat things.
So it's strength 10, so it can take on a Balrog. Is that why?
Why not? It lives in a cave. It lives in Moria. It's maybe got to fight a Balrog.
For its little eggs.
So what are your most impactful heroic actions, and what do you feel the least impactful heroic actions are?
So the most impactful is probably heroic combat, but mine's least impactful because when you roll up and roll 3 ones on a heroic combat and you don't do anything.
This is something
That's
we
one of
talk
them.
about a lot. I actually think we touched on it in our last video.
Is that the one that didn't get scrapped?
I don't know. I think I'm editing it now. But basically, so heroic combat is a really interesting one. Basically, you spend a point of might for a chance. If you kill everything in the combat you're in, you can move and fight again. So what happens if you whiff that and you fail to win the fight or kill things? Do you spend more points of might?
No, because then you just be... I don't, because you just get hell angry with yourself. Because you usually roll a 1 or a 2 anyway. You're going to use them all.
Yeah.
That's usually the most of it.
I feel that heroic combat definitely is one of the heroic actions that has the most potential to fail.
And makes you hell depressed so you don't want to play the game anymore. Yes.
There are like maybe 2 characters, Boromir and Azog, that I would spend extra might to win combats with because they have stupid amounts of might. If you're not them, or maybe some of the guys that get free ones, like Aragorn and stuff, but if you're not them, I wouldn't spend the extra might to make your combat go off. Like, you spend a point of might for a chance at it, and if it doesn't happen, oh well. I think what a lot of people get caught up in is you're making heroic combats to try and make plays that like make or break the game.
Yeah. Not just to kill more stuff to make you feel good.
Yeah. I think it's about putting yourself in situations where you don't have to combat to try and win the whole game or not lose the whole game. Because if you come down to that and then you heroic combat and then you're like, well, now I have to spend my might and blah, 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 blah. But
I think the heroic move as well. If you heroic move and then you want a heroic combat, that wastes a lot as well. I've seen Andrew do that a few times. But
I see it. I see a lot of people use their might for heroic moves very inefficiently. Yeah, coffee. Use heroic moves inefficiently, and
yeah.
oh, yeah. You don't have the shakes anymore now, do you?
Nah, I'm sweet, bros. Like, essentially, you don't always need to heroic move. Things like
it's
cavalry.
like going to the servo and paying for bottled water. I hate having to use it. Heroic move. Like, you should be sitting. Like, obviously,
That's
when
a good
we play,
analogy.
no,
That's
like
a good
if
one.
we play and we're playing a game and we know how each other plays because we play each other all the time. And it's like, it's not like coach is just going to randomly throw something out. Then you're like, oh shit, I have to heroic move. Like, you used to have, yeah. I hate using them heroic moves because you're like, shit, I should have just been out. Now I'm using might on something stupid from not getting killed.
Yeah.
Like, you can see a troll coming the whole way. If you leave yourself out in the open, that's your own fault.
I think the thing for me with heroic moves as well is that a lot of people move their shit without thinking about if they're gonna have to call a heroic move.
Yep.
And then I do this all the fucking time still. Like if I'm just playing a game and not really actively thinking about it too much, like if I'm just messing around, and you move a hero up.
Having your AB.
Yeah, that's the one. Move your hero up, and then you move shit around him, and then it comes time to call a heroic move, and you're like, well, fuck, now my character can't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll do that.
in the corner, and your hero's now stuck.
Put your ring wraith at the back.
So when you're trying to get him to fucking heroic move and use that to actually push things or move away or whatever, now your character's stuck in the middle of everything and can't actually get away or chase things.
Yep.
But most impactful and least impactful, I actually think one of the least impactful heroics tends to be strike, purely because if it comes down to you using strike to fight something, like half the time the thing you're striking against has strike, and it just becomes this thing of like, now you have like the person who had higher fight anyway has an advantage, and you just kind of both spend a might for nothing.
You spend a might to both get a dice roll that you might still lose.
I think the only time I ever use that is when you're calling one because you know that something's about to kill something and it's about to hit you, and if you don't heroic strike, they're going to mince you in that heroic combat. If that's the only time I really use it. So like you got Azog on the run, you're like, cool, he has to kill one Ministerial warrior before Toriel dies because she's just going to get minced. So it's like heroic strike, hopefully I roll a 6 and I beat you, and then just do a runner.
Yeah. I think moves and marches are probably the most impactful ones.
Yep.
March is the best one, I reckon.
Yeah, I think those two, like, because when you use them properly, like march, getting things, especially if you're playing against someone.
If you move things first, like you do it a lot, Coach, that I noticed, and you're the only one that actually does it properly. When you like heroic march, you have to move the things that you don't want to heroic march first. Is that right?
Yeah,
you have to move,
correct.
and you do it well. You do it well with your done lending. So like, yep, they're just going to block there, but this thing's just going to move you 9 inches up and block that next hole. Because you got the 6-inch banner, they're stupid. Like they do die, but because of their. But you know what I mean? If you use it smart, which he does every time, he usually blocks you and you're stuck anyway. So it's like, all right, cool.
Still whinging about me, Dave.
I was giving you props of saying that you use it well.
Yeah.
Like a footy coach. I like how you go in there long, Coach.
Time for some oranges.
Yeah.
I think like
Get the snakes out.
With your march as well. That's something like a lot of people don't know or like don't think about, is the fact that anything that moves in the heroic march can't charge. But unlike a heroic move where the hero that does the heroic move has to move first and then the thing that happens right away, with a heroic march there's no like priority steps on what you have to move things in. So you can move all your warriors around the hero that want to charge and fight things, and then move your hero. Yeah. Everything else that has then moved after the hero gets to heroic march with them. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of that. And that's the huge advantage that heroic march has over like the drums and stuff that you get, is because
the drum happens. Correct. Everything has to move with the drum.
Same as with the march though, like how you're saying, Coach, you got to get there. Like, so a lot of people, if you do a heroic move, you move your hero as far away as you can. You're like, oh shit, I wanted my hero like 4 inches this way, and all those people up and around there. But because you get scared, you're like, oh shit, I've got to move it first. That'll do. And then you're like, oh, well, then you've got a heroic move because you left it out there in the open again.
Yeah, I definitely think march and move are probably the two best ones, and something like strike. And I want to say the two other ones that are just least impactful, purely because I've literally never seen them, are resolve and challenge. I have never seen somebody call a heroic resolve.
I've seen a challenge before, and I killed that.
That's fucking awesome. That's like the coolest thing in the whole game.
But it's not when you start in combat for 4 turns.
I think the problem with heroic challenge is you spend a point of might. Any hero you want to challenge,
you're going to be better.
Well, yeah. But any hero you're going to want to challenge doesn't need to accept it. They're just like, no, why would I do that? That's dumb. The drawback being that then nobody gets to take part in their heroic actions or their stand fast.
You know what that's better than? That hero just being dead because I said yes to like fucking the Keeper of the Dungeons challenge, and now my fucking regular captain is just paced on the ground.
Yeah. It's
only good for like when you're someone like, I'd say you like Durin fighting an elf. because you know you're pretty much going to win. That'd be the only time you'd call one late in the game to get a kill at the end of the game, is to call a challenge and be like, I'm challenging you because I need one more kill and I know I'm going to kill him. That's it.
And you get a point of might if you win the challenge, or D3.
Yeah.
I was going to say no.
Which you should.
Yeah. But then a clever opponent's not going to accept it. They'll just be like, okay, no. Yeah, I'm not giving you a free point of might because you'll kill me.
Right.
I like the idea of heroic challenge. I think it's a really cool idea. It's
like
definitely
cinematic,
It's
thematic.
just, they've just made, yeah, definitely.
it's narrative. It's
So like
narrative.
the narrative, yeah.
Heroic resolve, same thing. Gives you extra dice to resist magic powers. I think it's 2.
Why would I use that? I'd be channeling before I use that any time of the week.
And still, like, if you're going to call heroic resolve, your hero stands there and doesn't get to do anything else the whole turn unless they get charged. Everyone around me has resist like 2 free dice.
My Witch King with 2 points in might. Yeah, I'm not wasting it on a resolve. Thank you.
Well, the thing is as well, like, if I'm playing against somebody who calls a heroic resolve, I probably just won't cast a spell this turn.
That's like, I'm sure that's kind of like.
It's like, why would you even call it?
But like, I think if you got to do it and still act normally, then there would be some situations where it's actually good to like deny an area against magic, because magic can still swing whole games.
Yep.
But I think the fact that you have to stand still and do fucking nothing is kind of kills it for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't even know what the rules are for it, so I don't really use it.
Yeah. There is like, you've also got, I think the two that sit in the middle, heroic strength and heroic defense.
Defense is sometimes cool. It's mainly for when it's late in the game and you don't want to die or something like that. I'd use it. I'd be definitely using points of, if you're going to die, I'd be using points of might to do a runner, then just use a defense.
Yeah. I think heroic defense has, Coach has got the PG book out.
Yeah, you answering my question, Coach.
What does it do?
It's resolve.
Yeah, I'm looking at resolve.
Is there any others we've missed?
Resolve gives you 1 free dice. It's not even 2. It's you. Everything within 6 gets an additional free dice. If they have resistance to magic, they get 2. But
So does that mean that a hobbit gets 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
It also means
just resistant to magic and throw rocks at you.
Like, whatchamacallit? Arnor, not Arnor. Numenor get 2 dice.
if you have
Elders
spells,
get 2 dice.
you can cast spells and you can shoot. But if you call a heroic resolve, you have to stand still and can't do anything else. Like, you can't charge and shit, obviously. So
When do you call it?
it's at the start of the move phase. Yeah, it's the same time as march and move.
So you have to preemptively call it
To know that someone's just going to run away and
before.
waste it.
Yeah.
So that's clearly the book from my most recent Pelennor Fields, because I opened that and it's a new book.
Mint as
Can
nice
you
and shiny.
can you snap the lines on it? Come up with these ones.
Oh yeah, bend back.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
can hear
it.
that crunch.
You can hear Aaron's heart just break.
All right, so heroic actions. What about the importance of heroic tears?
What are you crying about?
I hate you so much.
That's a knee
What's that
slap.
song?
I hate you so much.
JP, Cry Me a River. Can you play that? Hear that?
Let's talk about heroic tiers. So, with the introduction of the Middle Earth strategy battle game rule system, we have different heroic tiers. So, in the past, way back in the middle, in the beginning, you had to have one hero in your army to be your
The
general.
24.
No. One hero.
Was that it?
That
No,
was it.
you just had to have at least
I would
one.
have hate to have played back then.
The
Also,
best army in the game. was an
Urukai,
warrior.
captain, and really?
Yes.
Not
because
Urukai?
5 points a model, you have a captain, and you get 1/3 bows, Bill.
You'd actually just have like fucking 50 goblins with
A
bows.
goblin is 5
Volley
points.
fire used to be a thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, volley fire, like crazy. Anyway, then with the blue books, which was I can't remember what that game was called. That edition of the game. Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, maybe. I don't know,
I think
whatever.
so.
The blue books came in, and then
Yeah, they did like Yeah.
They introduced
Each
you have to have a
factor.
hero. A hero has to lead 12 warriors. But now we have in the Middle Earth strategy battle game, we have different heroic tiers. We have independent heroes, minor heroes, heroes of valor, heroes of fortitude, etc., 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 and heroes of legend.
Which
They
have
can
a
all
special
lead.
role.
Definitely, they can all lead differing numbers of warriors. What's for you guys the importance of the different heroic tiers?
Mainly depends what points you're playing, because like obviously minor heroes can fit in anywhere. Your 12 is just your generic, so most of your little lists you go off of that because you're using generic captains. Like you're not going to spend 140 points on a captain. But then when it comes to something like 650, 700, where say like a Witch King or something like that, that can take 18 dudes, can help you fill out your numbers without having excess points. Like, oh shit, what do I do with 40 points? Like, oh, 6 orcs, thanks, tick, like
Yep.
done.
Coach?
I think, yeah, for the most part, if you do have those bigger heroes, I think you want to try and fill their warbands out because it gives you extra bodies for, like, you don't, like Bill said, you don't have to take an extra hero. I think the other one that's really, really cool to me is, Jesus, never. The other one that's really cool is independent heroes and the fact that they can be added to other warbands.
Yep.
There aren't many of them, but like, and then some of them, like Sheila, who's an independent hero, can't. She's not allowed to join another warband. But for the ones like, I think most of the Lake Town smaller heroes are independent characters.
Yep.
Drummers and stuff are independent characters.
Independent heroes, yep.
Independent heroes. What else is there? Is there anything else?
Grima.
Grima, yeah.
Alfred.
Yeah, like it's all the Lake Town stuff, like the kid as well. The fact that you put those in other warbands, maybe that new Rohan kid, is that an independent hero?
I believe so. I have a feeling.
Warband, because that's really fun.
Yeah.
I think like those are really cool. Like for the most part, they're them being an independent hero and being able to join another warband. Most of the time, a lot of them have rules about whose warband they have to join anyway. I think that's pretty cool and it's very thematic.
Is it? So it is narrative and it is thematic.
Yes.
Is it good in a competitive gaming sense?
Most of the time, the ones that like whose warband they join, they have things that buff them or like affect them in a certain way. So yes, like all of those characters are pretty useful.
Also, it's really cool. So there is scenarios where you come on from random board edges,
and it means they're always going to be where they're used,
rather than just having Alfred the counselor come on one like board edge. Yeah, exactly.
Why does Bill sound like he's underwater?
Because he unplugged his headphones.
Yeah, I had to charge my phone. Sorry, guys.
That's all good.
I got a fast charger.
Can you give me like blub 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 while you're there?
So for me, heroic tiers actually are about saving points. So the difference between having somebody be able to lead 15 warriors or 18 warriors and 12 means that you don't need to then buy often an extra captain to lead more warriors to fit into your points. So quite often when it comes to list writing and you've got like a regular captain who could lead 12, and then you could spend, say, 20 more extra points on a named hero, fills out your points a little bit more, get some extra abilities, but then you can also squeeze in some more troops, so you don't have this like uneven thing. It means often you don't have to buy an extra captain, extra hero.
So what Dale's trying to say is the exact same thing that Bill and I said already.
Yeah, basically.
I think he's going to edit it to be louder so everyone hears it.
Yeah.
No, I'll make mine go first.
He'll cut ours out.
We just have three different points of view, and it finally come around to the end.
Basically, yeah. We all said it different ways, but I think
it's just different playing styles is how you use it. That's why.
For sure.
Obviously.
All right. Well, because we all agreed on that, that's not really a big talking point. Not very interesting. Heroes with aura abilities.
A lot more of those these days.
There is a lot more of those these days. So things like Ingold. We've talked about Ingold earlier. So
Frida.
Frida Tool Spear, that where do they fit into your list writing?
So, oh well, it's
No, whatever. Jump in.
You might as well talk about the bird with the spear as your army.
I think for the most part, when you look at like, the characters with aura abilities, it still again to me comes down to like you're just looking at them as a regular hero, right? Like most of the characters I think that have those abilities, I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. Outside of like some bigger heroes who count as banners, I think for the most part they're fairly mid-tier heroes. I'm trying to
Galadriel, Lady of Light.
yeah. So outside of a few like bigger
Yeah.
ones, for the most part, and there's not even that many of them, they're quite small characters, and I think they're very easy to just chuck into a list because they can alter how a certain part of the battlefield plays. Like if you have Frida and her aura ability is that everyone within 3 inches of her gets to, I think it's like reroll wounds against mounts or something.
Yep.
And then her specifically, she also has an additional special rule that if she's involved in a fight, whether by supporting or being in base contact with the cavalry, they get none of their charging bonuses. So if you've got her in like behind a battle line, you're all of a sudden going to be a lot more hesitant about like your Dalamoth Knights hitting the side of that battle line of shitty low defense Dunlendings because she walks over there and now every time that Dunlending wins a fight, your fucking horse is dead and you're on the ground. Or she walks up and stops the hero.
You get the Fell Beast and you don't get your cav. You don't get your attacks from your Fell Beast, so your Witch King charges and gets 1 attack because you forgot the ground.
Gets the 2 from the Fell Beast, but doesn't get his extra attack. And
doesn't get his knock to the ground.
Pretty handy. How many points is she?
60 points?
65.
65, yeah. When it comes to like those types of heroes, do you, and I know Bill plays a lot of heroes with aura abilities.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
So that includes like Ring Wraiths with their Will of Evil, Ancient Evil, or whatever, the -1 courage and stuff. So I'm including that into this as well. And like the Shade or Frida Tool Spear. Do you write your list and then look at your heroes and just be like, oh, that'd actually be pretty good in there? Or do you pick the character and build around it? Bill?
I think you build it like I don't want to be like an Aussie yobbo, but like you build it around like a footy way. Like you take your one mid-tier hero and you're going to take a couple of the boys, you know what I mean? And then you need a couple more leaders that can... Like, you got to look like, if you're going to fight a troll, you're going to have to take something that can actually beat a troll. So what's the point of rocking up to a party if you can't beat a troll? Like, you're just going to have a bad time because you're always going to be running from it. So you need to think of things like, what am I going to be playing and have to try and stop whilst... Because, what's the point of going there? And, you can't even beat a troll. So things like Cav can knock over other stuff. And then you got to think of, like, Courage. That gets rid of trolls pretty easy, Courage.
It does. Coach, do you write your list and then put your heroes in, or do you build your list around a hero?
I tend to kind of like go warband by warband for the most part, and then go back and make adjustments as needed. So whatever my general is going to be, I tend to like build armies around what I want my one, like whether that character is someone that's worth 200 points or whether it's someone that's worth like 90. I want the list to be built around that, like my general, right? So start with that, go through their warband, pick another hero, and kind of just add them in by whatever I feel like using at the time. So for me, it is kind of just tossing characters in. Like there's not really much of a thought process. Like if I have to adjust, go back through warbands, I do. Yeah. But yeah.
No, it's fair. I basically, I think it is kind of a bit of both. It's a balancing act you want. Especially once you start talking about army bonuses and things like that. So you get like, the army plays this way. So this hero and his warband are going to be my combat guys. And I have some rangers and I want this warband to be able to hold objectives. So you kind of like, you mix and match and you kind of delicately balance it and tweak until I guess.
And then that comes down to like what comes in the, in your scenarios as well. Like, obviously, objective games, like, if you haven't got anything that can get there or anything that you can sacrifice to get there, you're not going to have a fun time. I used to do it all the time. It's heaps of fun taking stuff out and killing things, and then you lose on objectives because you can't get there. That's hell fun, playing a 3-hour game and you lost because you're an idiot and Like, you didn't take something to actually play the game properly. You just took something to kill.
Yeah. Sometimes that's effective, but now there's 18 scenarios, and killing things is really only useful in a
Unless
quarter
you
of
play
those
Verano,
scenarios.
that's the only way to do it. This one.
All right. Oh, there you go. The boys. Yeah, the boys. Hang on, I'm feeling left out. Yeah.
Your little match
Play crew. Fuck, we're losers.
You only just noticed.
The whole reason you take heroes, really, when it boils down
So you
to
can
it,
play the game, obviously.
spending might. So you can play the game. Yeah. Spending might.
Got him, Andrew.
How should you spend your might?
I know, do they take check?
Cash only.
Cash only, oh.
Cash
I
on
thought it'd be
delivery.
F-Boss. Just pay wave.
Hey, no cash handling at the moment.
That's it.
They're doing
Exactly.
They did that at the bottle shop up near Haley's at the Christie's. No cash. No cash here.
How else are you meant to do lines of Coke?
Laminate things.
Laminate things. All right.
Right. Jesus Christ.
Spending might. How do you spend your might? What should you spend your might on? And what are common mistakes people make when they spend might? Coach.
Well, I can give you the first common mistake is just not fucking spending might.
There's nothing worse than dying with all your points of might.
I told you.
With 3 might.
Going to the servo and buying a bottle of water when you can get it at home on Puritat.
I think
It's a robbery.
the biggest thing for me is being too cautious with how you spend your might.
Yep.
You don't just fucking throw it away on dumb things that don't matter, but being too cautious with how you spend your might is a big deal. With captains and stuff, probably use it early to aggressively march if you're someone that wants to be up in their face. Your bigger heroes, you kind of tend to want to save it for if they're in spots where they can call moves, or if you want, especially if it's a big combat hero, someone that isn't getting free might, you want to be looking at some heroic combats that are going to, like, without being the thing that wins you the game, if you can kill 5 dudes in a turn, or like 4 dudes in a turn,
How do you do that?
Get a banner or something, you do it, right? Because sometimes that, like,
get your points back.
Yeah, and I think that I'm a big, and I think I said this, hopefully it's in the video that didn't get deleted, not the lost footage.
Not the Discord one, yeah.
I think if you have an opportunity, especially with characters like Legolas, Rasku, Bard, anyone, Haldir, any of these characters that can shoot and have 3 might, and if you've got an opportunity, like, you need a 5 and you roll a 4 to just kill a dude, sometimes it's actually worth spending that point of might just to kill someone, because that one extra body makes a difference in how the positioning is going to work and everything like that. So not being scared to spend might to kill things, but not spending it overzealously. Find your happy medium. Coach, Mr.
Spreadsheets. When a hero, so basically, like, you pay points for a hero, and you know, bonus rules count as 5 points, and different stats and stuff. The algorithm to cost a character.
Algorithm. Use that in a sentence, please.
How many points is the point of might?
5, right? Isn't it?
5 points.
Yeah. Do you know that you can find that out? Look at the ring rates.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Perfect. So basically, a point of might is 5 points. So if you're spending a point of might to kill a 10-point warrior or a 20-point cav,
yeah,
worth it?
Absolutely. Especially, again, like, heroes tend to be in the middle of those, like, most battles end up being fought around some kind of choke point. Like, if you're all just out fighting out in the open, I don't know what you're doing. But if most games tend to, like, especially if you have lots of terrain, tend to be, like, fought around these, like, natural choke points. And breaking through those, or starting to push through those in a way that your opponent has to back out or start sending things to help that side of the battle, it makes a huge difference. And sometimes all that is killing one dude. Killing one dude opens up a path for one of your warriors next turn. You take out control zones, get through the banner, and all of a sudden it's a lot scarier, right? Like
You've been fighting 2 shielding elves, and then you finally win the fight. Like, point of might, you're dead. Get out of my way. Like, I'm coming through.
Yeah.
Because it happens all the time. Oh, shielding. There was Stevie special. Shielding. Like,
I guess it's all about like the game as a whole is resource management. Keep your dudes alive, kill the enemy's dudes, managing the resources. When do you spend your might to control those resources? Blew your mind there, coach.
Your dudes alive and kill the other dudes. That's like if you walked up to me in like a basketball game and you're like, how do you win? Oh, just like score more points.
just put the ball through the hoop more times than the opponent. You might win.
Simple.
Kill more things than your... Well, sometimes actually you don't want to kill more things than your opponent in this fucking game because that's how you lose games. I've done it like 3 times in recent history.
Am I correct now in the rules you cannot spend might to not wound somebody? Cool.
You can't lower dice rolls with it anymore.
Yeah. You used to be able to. Thanks,
Only use it
fucking
to
Hearn. That was great. The most infuriating game I've ever played in my entire life. When my opponent spent a point of might to not kill something, so that I couldn't.
So you shouldn't be able to do that.
So that I couldn't get models off the board. Yeah. Oh man. So anyway.
So it's only now to improve. You can't deprove.
Correct.
If that's even a word.
Correct.
Deprove. Look it up. Urban Dictionary.
It is now. Don't go to Urban Dictionary.
Be like a backwards arm something.
So yeah, knowing when to call your heroic actions correctly, one of the biggest wastes of might that I observe is when people call heroic moves when they don't need to. You don't always need to charge and pick your fights, especially if you're playing with those choke points. Realistically, often
Shield for a turn.
You'll call a heroic move to put yourself in the same fights that your opponent would anyway.
You should always be 2 turns in front anyway. Always. Because if you're just thinking at that point, that's when they use it because they're not thinking or like you're doing a coach, A, B, pack, whatever, mate, you'll be right, move your models. And they're like, oh shit, I got a heroic move here or something like that.
If you make a fate roll and you roll a 3, do you spend your might?
Depends on how many wounds you got left.
Depends on the situation.
Like if it's your last wound, you might as well.
No, I'd just rather die, mate.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that 3 points of might there. Stuff it.
Yeah, so it's situational. Yeah, cool.
I think regularly, like, especially if you're someone that's high defense, right? Like if you're a Ministerious captain or you're an Iron Heels captain, because we love Iron Heels around here.
Oh, do we ever?
Ooze. Big train, steam train.
7 or higher, right? Especially if you're not someone that's going to have, like, if you're a named captain and you're, like, an unnamed captain, sorry, and you're already, like, in the thick of it, you're not going to have to worry about trying to march and shit like that. I think spending that point yourself on that extra high defense wound is definitely worth it. If you're, like, a defense 5 character, you could also...
Defense 7 is just crap anyway. Defense 7, like, when I play Steve's Iron Hills and your Great Beastie Gorgoroth is strength 6 and it's still 5s to stampede a Iron Hills dwarf that's 11 points.
12 points, Bill. They're 12 points.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it 11 and a half?
No,
when he was cheating, they were 11.
That's right.
The whole time.
we'll cover this.
Isn't that how you win with them?
Yeah, you just
don't bring a book in so they can't read the rules and just make them up, right?
Yeah,
that's it. It's all your mites up here as well.
wait. You do one of these as well. Hang on.
I'm pretty sure Dane's 666. I'm pretty sure. I don't have a book, so I can't tell you.
Keep talking.
Okay, we'll cover this more when we talk about magic in depth. If somebody casts a spell at you, and
what do?
You fail by 1 or 2 on the spell, do you spend your might as well as your will to stop the spell? Thoughts?
It depends what the spell is, and
that's why you take the crown.
If it's a spell that's gonna, like, if you being transfixed this turn has a serious implication on the outcome of the game, yeah, you probably do. If you being transfixed this turn doesn't fucking mean anything, I don't even know if I'd spend the point of will. I'm like, cool, I'm transfixed. Like,
yeah,
it's fine.
Most of the time you get transfixed is just to put you in a position like you can sit there for a turn, like just stay there so I don't have to deal with you. So by half the time you'll be like, yep, cool, all right, cool. With the next turn you can do it again.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it again.
Go on.
You
We'll
what?
do that again, young boy.
All right. So the biggest. This is it. This is our final little talking point. It's a
Ooh,
biggie. It's a biggie. Mounted heroes. Pros and cons.
All pros.
Look, I'll give you one con. One con straight away. You're going to get shot at if you're on a mount. Especially if you're not Azog, Dane, or Thranduil with your dumb 2-wound mounts. If you're not those, and you're not a ring wraith on a fell beast, you're going to get fucking lit up. Anyone
Legolas shot.
shoot a pebble, any slingshots, anyone throwing stones,
Just
anything.
bullet
It's
magnets.
your general direction until your fucking horse is dead. Like, it's just going to happen.
That's the thing, like a defense 5 horse with a defense 6 horse with a stone, it doesn't matter, it's still 6s. Gotcha.
I think, mostly pros, definitely. Like, you want that extra move, you want to be able to charge things, knock them over. It makes you much more killy.
I remember Cameron always used to talk about it. So let's take, how many points is Boromir? Let's take Boromir, for example. 160. Paying
100 with everything.
Paying 10 points or 15 points or whatever it is for an armored horse, 15 points for an armored horse, takes your investment of 100 and whatever, 150 points, and just multiplies it. You go from having 3 attacks to having 4 attacks on the charge. You go from making 3 wound rolls to making 8 wound rolls. It's just such a...
Moving 6 inches to moving 10 inches. Like,
exactly.
Or you have fly.
It just stacks so many more bonuses onto a hero. And I think a lot of people don't really use mounts for this, but you can feint, like as an army strategy, you can feint and make your opponent who's infantry commit to an area and then reposition away. So they're quite good for pulling the enemy out of position.
On that, you can also, like, if you've got 2 separate little fights going on, right, and you can have your character on his horse move 8 inches one turn to get over here and look like next turn he's going to charge in over there, and they, like you said, move to deal with that, and then you just fucking zip the other way.
Yeah, you mainly use it for things that have, like, I use it with Thranduil, so you're like, yeah, cool, I roll up here, boom, I need to go 10 inches this way to support my elves that are about to die. Now they will get +1 fight, whatever, and then next turn you can then wrap around, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing worse than having to be 12 inches away and you're like a 5-inch, 6-inch movie, you're like, oh, this is great.
Another really good pro and like a really scary use for mounted heroes, especially those big super killy ones, is you can make your opponent preemptively spend might. So if you've got an Azog or a Thranduil or a Elrond or a Gilgalad in a position and that they have like a line to call a heroic combat, often, and sorry Hearn, I did it to Hearn in a tournament where he had Legolas and Toriel and I had Azog mounted and he just like charged into an elf. Legolas and Toriel both had to call heroic strikes in case Azog called a heroic combat and killed them. Yeah. And basically I did that 2 turns in a row, made him spend all of his points of might and just didn't charge Azog, Legolas and Toriel.
The problem with that, and I don't know if that's something that happens a lot outside of where we play, but it happens a fucking lot now because we started doing this stupid shit, so now it happens a lot, is like, if I charge... I played a few games recently with a Elendil and a Isildur, and if I charge a Elendil, who's really, really stupid because he gets free...
Why do you take that army?
So he hits something, and he goes, I'm calling my free heroic combat, and he's hit a regular warrior, and he's fight 7, strength 5 burly on his fucking horse, so he gets 4 attacks, knocks you over, gets 8, whatever, right? And any of your characters are within range that aren't already fight 7 or higher, and you don't call the strike, I'm going to kill that character. If you do call the strike, I'm just not going to fight you.
I'm just going to kill some generic dudes again and kill 4.
Yeah, I'll kill 6 models this turn, yeah.
It's really stupid.
Or a cave troll or something, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just go and hit your cave troll instead of your hero. Cool.
Something you can do about that when you're moving stuff is to make sure especially if you're the person, like, if you've got like 3 mid-tier heroes and they have a couple shitty captains and like fucking Azog or some big hero, right? You want to be making sure that you're not giving up those easy opportunities. So things like having support, having yourself in the middle of a battle line where you're not
or
going to
putting a model out there to
like,
stop the model's base. So you got to think of it like when you're fighting a troll. Like, this dude can barge or heroic combat. I'm going to like stick a couple of dudes out here with a spear support and run. Like, I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to shield or spear support you, and hopefully you don't kill those 4. And then there's another dude standing there, like sucked in. That's what, yeah. Especially with heroic combats, they can be deadly. I'm usually on the bad end of them, but anyway.
Look, okay. In saying that, how do you deal with a mounted hero? Like, because there's
shoot at it.
Shoot her.
Yeah. There you go. Cool.
Legolas 2+ and then rolls 5. Get off your horse, mate.
Yeah. Look,
that's
like
one of mine.
That's why Bolg should have a two wound warg.
Oh, no way. Shut up, Bill. No way.
It's big enough.
Multi-wound regular mounts are like the dumbest thing they did in the entire game.
Correct.
Because the 3 characters that have them are like the best 3 mounted heroes in the game because of it.
Correct.
Because at the time you go, oh, that thing has 2 wounds, I'm just not going to bother. Like, especially with fucking Azog, where he's got the White Warg has 2 wounds and can theoretically have 2 points of fate.
And 3 points of might on its own.
Well, it could have
6. When he plays, it uses 3 in the 2 turns, and then it's useless.
Yeah.
So really, with mounted heroes, prevention is better than the cure. Deal with it before it gets to you. Okay.
If you can't shoot them, try and plan ways that if they have to commit to something, they're not just going to be able to hit you and get the fuck out. Or like use heroic moves to pressure them. Like if they go in on something and don't get like straight away in a spot where they're safe, right? Use heroic moves if you can to make it. Because if you can charge them, like theoretically, if you win 1 round of combat, you should be able to kill a horse. Sometimes, and like a lot of the time, it's better to spend your first 3 attacks. Like if let's say that big hero, like in a combat where you charge them and they lose, don't swing at the hero on top trying to get a couple wounds in on their leader. Kill their fucking horse so they're on the ground, and then they're even more stuck. They're not causing more havoc by like running around and killing 4 things a turn. Like kill the damn horse if you win combats against it.
Yep, I agree. So to summarize, this is our last little thing. When you write an army list,
gonna interrupt you. I just thought of one more thing because I was thinking about landings. Another thing that I hadn't thought about until thinking about how I was going to use my dump have is.
Well, I'm busy at the moment.
If somebody charges, especially if it's a hero on a horse, and you have other cav around, don't be scared to chuck your Warg Rider, your Knight of Dal Amroth, whatever it is, into the back of them, or like just wherever it is, into them, because if there's another cavalry model in base contact, the only charge bonus you get is your lance. So using your cav just to nullify their hero's charge bonuses is perfectly viable.
Very, very good. That's a really, really good point to make. A lot of people don't think like that. They think that they're wasting their cav, but you're actually nullifying your opponent's cav. So when you write a list, specifically when it comes to heroes, did you shit your pants?
No, I think I nearly kicked the table over. You were right.
Oh, okay. So when you write a list, specifically when it comes to heroes, what are the things you need to consider when you're considering your heroes? Like, in a generic sense, when you're not specifically matched up against whatever, if you're just writing a all-comers list and you need, what are the things that you need to take into consideration when it comes to your opponent's army when you pick your heroes?
You can go, Coach. I've got a different opinion, but you go first. You're usually the logic one.
Firstly, for my general, the first thing I want is they either got to be high courage or a hero of legend.
Yep.
Preferably both.
Why is that?
Both, but one or the other. Because if you're a hero of legend, you automatically pass your first standfast check. And if you're high courage, you're going to pass most of your standfast checks. So you don't want your general, and a lot of the characters you're going to take as generals are your bigger heroes. A lot of them have like 12-inch standfasts that are going to like really affect the game. There's that one dwarf dude that has a battlefield-wide standfast, which is
he's not even your general.
Yeah, but yeah. So either hero of legend or high courage for your general. A lot of the time that's going to end up being if you're taking a big character to deal with other characters or monsters like by themselves, as opposed to using your army to do it. That's going to end up being all the same model, right? Most army lists have somebody that is pretty obviously that person. And a lot of the times that is the person who's going to be your hero of legend. I think the only one where I can think of where it isn't off the top of my head would be Rohan, where your best combat character is Aemir, who is not your leader, Theoden is. But
Theoden is cracking combat.
Yeah. But for so that's your general, and generally your bigger character to fight other characters and stuff if you want that is there. If you can take even just your regular captains, if you can mount them, they get really, really good at killing regular dudes. And characters in general, if you put them in situations where they're on even footing with warriors, will kind of mincemeat through them, even if it is just a captain. They'll kill them a lot quicker than they otherwise would. So I think just making sure you have, and looking at as well as like, if you're playing like an 800-point game, you don't want to end up with like two characters that give you like 6 might between the two of them. You want to kind of like look at your might total as well and kind of be aware of how you're going to use that. Like if you're going to have
variety.
If like 3 of those points of 6 might are just going to be one dude heroic marching or heroic moving, and then you've only got 3 might to spend on other things. I think you kind of want to think about that when you're writing your list. Preemptively, what do you kind of want to aim to use your might for with characters?
Yeah, good points.
You covered most of it, really.
Yeah.
That's why we just put him on first. Put him on the spot. Put him on first, and he gives the answer.
Make him talk. Make him feel part of it. Feel included.
Yeah.
One of the, I think like you definitely when I write a list, I generally don't pick my leader first unless your army specifically steers you towards that.
Unless you play Thranduil's Halls.
Thranduil's Halls, Erebor, and Rohan. They're generally the 3 armies that, if you're playing those, you're kind of locked into who your leader's going to be because your army bonus. But I kind of look at, okay, this is going to be my battle line little warband, and I need a character who's got 2 points of might. Your army needs to be able to deal with a troll, at least 1 troll, and at least 1 big hero, 140 points plus hero. Realistically, combat heroes are very good at killing warriors.
That's what you want them for.
You
don't go chasing someone's character.
It's sick
I'll tell you that right now.
Legolas and Azog like fighting against each other.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be Legolas.
To go off that though, there are lots of ways to. It's not like the only way to deal with a monster or a big hero is to have your own monster or big hero. There are lots of ways to do that. Whether you're using magic, whether you're going to have a couple smaller heroes that can like heroic strike, that can run up to a troll and strike, and you surround him and trap it and kill it in 1 round of combat, and try and just deal with it that way. Whether you have you're playing Gandalf the White, Shade, you paralyze the troll and it sits there and has no fun for the entire game.
That's why you need to take, like, I take the Troll Chieftain for the extra 40 points for things when you actually need will, so you can move them as well. But that's I think
3 Barrow Whites that just go, why on the ground?
Well, not your Barrow White. That's not thematic. I wouldn't play that anyway. I wouldn't let you play Angmar.
Only Bill's allowed to play Angmar.
There's no way. Yeah, or Drass, but he's never in, so just Bill.
Do you put... Okay, this is... If it is a combat hero, do you put them in danger?
If your leader
is a combat hero, or do you try your best to have a leader and a combat hero?
Half of the time you don't want it to be in trouble, because that's what most of your victory points, like core wounded your leader. Like, you're probably better off doing 1 wound to the leader than actually killing it. Like, you know what I mean? Cool, got me point there, and I'm not even going to worry about you anymore. I'm going to fight the rest of your army and break you and get 3 points for that now.
I think it depends on the army. If you can have someone that is a leader. That if you can have someone who is separate to be your general, I think again the perfect example of this is Rohan, because they kind of have to do it already. Where you've got Théoden, who's a hero of legend, but generally, if you're taking someone who is a hero of legend, they're going to be your general. You're not going to have 2 heroes of legend. But if you're taking like you max out with like a few heroes of valor, and you can have it so one of the cheaper, let's say you've got Boz and Faz, they're both heroes of valor, right? I actually might consider making armored up Faramir my leader, because I want Boromir to run in, lance things,
Use 6 points of might.
use his 6 points of might, and just fucking kill things, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually some like might be worth doing that. Obviously, sometimes you're like, he's got 3 fate and 3 wounds. I want him to be my leader as well because he's less likely to die. But sometimes you can't do it. Like if you're playing any of the things where you take a hero of legend that is King Aragorn, Elendil, Azog, whoever the fuck it is, like Thranduil, whoever it is, they have to be your leader, and you want to use them to kill things. So I guess it's kind of about managing that and not putting them in situations where you know they're going to get completely fucked over.
You want a survivable big hero to be a leader. And you want heroes that can fight things.
Take dumb things. It's way more fun.
It is.
Feels right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And half of it is PG, but yeah, half of the list we play anyway. It's just us talking shit in the store on a Sunday afternoon. It's like, yeah, all right, and then add this, and then add that, and you're like, oh yeah, this is fun. And then someone buys it and plays it. You're like, yeah, that's great to play against. Why did we even think of that?
This dumb Numenor army.
Yeah, it was either that or Erebor. Take your pick.
Still want to buy 25 Vault Warden teams.
Well, I think. Does anyone have anything else to say about heroes? Any other points?
Not really.
No,
you'd like to make?
I think we've done it.
Cool. Heroes are fun.
Yeah.
Definitely fun to play.
Not if you're defense 4, but anyway.
Don't die.
Put it off, Captain. Defense 4.
Don't roll shit.
Get throwing knife to death.
Well, that's been episode 1 of Dubious Counsel. Heroes. I've been Dion.
Can you stop being Dion?
I'm Dion.
I think the best phrase the whole time, Bill, was this one.
Yeah. I was about to eat a cookie.
Anyway, I've been Dion.
I am Coach.
And my phone's about to go flat.
He's been Bill. We are the D6 Fix. Thank you all.